Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Really good leaders are never comfortable being comfortable. They're comfortable being courageous. Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
I'm Mark Miller.
And we're fired up. Brand new week. It's launch week for your upcoming book, Uncommon Greatness. I think it comes out tomorrow. You may be listening to this later, but this book we believe is going to help a lot of leaders all over the place. It's filled with these 5 fundamentals of leadership, really the blocking and tackling. This is your job description if you're a leader. We've been unpacking it the last few weeks now. We've been talking about these fundamentals, and now we're in the middle of this fundamental number 5, to embody a leader's heart. We said if your heart's not right, nobody really cares about your skills. First 4 fundamentals were kind of skill-based. This one is really the underneath the surface of the iceberg. We said that's, the 90% below the waterline. This is the stuff that makes you a leader that others want to follow. And this courage thing, we don't really hear this talked about a lot, but responding with courage is a heart habit of really great leaders. We're going to dive into it a little bit today. So I hope you're living with courage today. You got a new book. You're putting your stuff out into the world tomorrow. So it takes a little courage to do that. I'm excited for you.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I'm excited, thankful for the opportunity. And I'll link what you just said to this topic. I think most everything a leader does requires some courage. Maybe it's just a little bit, but maybe it's a huge amount. When you're trying to decide a new strategy, when you're trying to decide who do you promote and who do you recognize, when you're trying to decide who do you select, I think there's some courage there because you might not get it right. When you think about you need to restructure, when you need to divest yourself of a division, when you've got to have a hard conversation with a team member, maybe even a step or two down that road even further, when there's a termination that you gotta make that call. All of these and many, 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 many other things that we do to add value. Let's even go back to where we started. When you see the future, and that requires some courage, you're actually articulating a preferred picture of the future that does not exist. You're trying to tell people, no, it's out there and it's possible. Now, you may not even know how to get there. That takes some courage. So I think this is one of those cornerstone heart habits. How many cornerstones can a building have?
I don't know,
right?
but we think these are all very
They're
important.
all very important.
Yeah, they really are.
And virtually everything you do as a leader is going to require some courage, which is why I think it's so important that in the book and for these few minutes here, we're actually going to talk about how to strengthen your courage.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You reminded me there when you were talking about the vision for the future. Sometimes when we cast that vision, we're undoing, maybe we got somebody around our table, they had a great idea and we've been doing it for 7 years and now we're going to do something different.
We've been pursuing their vision.
We got to be pursuing what they had or, their idea, and now we're going to do something. All those things. What we talked about yesterday, admitting, or I guess it was Friday now, but before the weekend, we talked about admitting mistakes. I think there's all kinds of ways. So how do we do this? Yeah, is the thing. And I think it starts with a couple things. Let's start with this idea of acknowledging our fears. I think most of us, we want to pretend we don't have any fears. And there are some people that are just more, they have fear. I mean, they know what they're, but I think every single person has fear. And I know, Mark, you like to read the Bible as well, but I'm a Bible reader, and I was fascinated. I read through the Bible one time and just looking for this idea of courage, and I found over and over again, it's God says, be courageous. I couldn't find the verse that says be comfortable. If you're not a Bible reader and you're like, I'm going to go try to, is there a place? I've read the whole thing. You won't find be ye comfortable. It's not in there, but be courageous over and over. It's like we need to be reminded over and over again. And I think as leaders, like you said, there's so many places that courage gets to show up, and if we're not careful, we will miss that, and it's like we've got to work on this, and it starts with really acknowledging our fears. It can be that's the starting place.
Yeah, and it might even be fear's baby brother, which is just lack of confidence.
Yeah,
maybe it's not full blown fear yet.
Yeah,
maybe it's uncertainty.
Yeah,
but you got to acknowledge those things
doubt.
too. Maybe doubt.
Yeah,
because when you can name it, you can begin to conquer it.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so there's another way we can think about this idea of responding with courage. And I think your book is a perfect example of this. You go back to where you started as an author. Now, I don't know, this 13, how many books? You got a bunch of them.
A lot of them.
A lot of books out in the world. But every book, I've been reading all these books, and it seems to me like you're getting better. One of the things we talk about with responding with courage is the idea of failing forward. Not that any of your books have failed, but you've learned a lot along the way every time, and you've kept trying to get better as an author, as one example. But this happens in for leaders everywhere in all these different areas of our life. If we will pay attention to our failures, they actually can propel us to be more courageous into the future.
So as it relates to the writing, I fail forward many times on every book project. On each book.
I'm the same way. I've got like,
they go
it's
through,
crazy.
They go through draft after draft after draft after draft. And I welcome that because I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
And so I want voices. I want editors. I want reviewers. I want friends. I want critics. I want people to add their perspective to the process, because I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this to serve leaders. And if others can help me, I'm willing to fail. I'm willing for an editor to say, I don't understand this, or this makes no sense.
Yeah.
On this book, I had an entire chapter that I loved. And I had so many people go, why is this in here? I reluctantly took it out because they were convinced that it wouldn't serve my audience.
Maybe we'll do some podcasts.
Well, I don't know, but my point is, so even as it relates to the writing, the books may be successful in the end, but they're failures along the way. And I think you've got to be willing to take that journey.
You're not alone. I've got a book coming out here this summer, and I just, this is crazy. I just got back from the editor. I'm on the last couple of passes here, and there were 1,700 suggestions.
1,700 suggestions
on one book. And I say one book. My book is a short book compared to your book. Like, you write, real books. Mine are, parables. And so, and so I think this idea, but I tell you what, it made it better. It's going to make it better. And those extra voices.
That's why you bring the courage, not because you just
Exactly.
want to be,
That's
I
exactly
don't want a
right.
button that says courageous.
That's
I want to be
exactly right.
courageous because things get better.
That's
and
exactly
people
right.
get better, and the organizations get better, and your book's going to get better.
I hope so. That's right. So
that's why we do it.
So we acknowledge our fears. We want to fail forward, and then I think as we're going to respond with courage, we got to stretch ourselves. We got to try stuff that's hard. We got to go big or go home, so to speak. What do you have on your calendar right now that's hard? That's going to push you past where you've ever been before. And I think if we're not careful, we'll get comfortable being comfortable, and we really won't. I mean, it's what I said at the beginning. It's like we're not. There's a stretch available, and I always like to think about. I do a lot of flying. I'm on airplanes a lot, and in the middle of the plane, we fly Delta a lot. There's the comfort seats, and they're pretty good seats. I mean, they're great, but they're not the best seats on the plane. The best seats are in the front. I mean, they're better than the ones in the back. I'm sat in those a lot as well, but. It's crazy. These ones in the front are available, these first class seats. And every time I buy a ticket, I could purchase a first class seat if I wanted to. I never do. And the reason is because I'm not willing to pay the price. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's like, if I'm willing to pay the price, they'll sell me those seats. But I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. I'm flying, for somebody else. I don't want to spend their money on that. If it's me, I don't want to spend my money on that. I want to, I'm comfortable here. And I look at those seats, and you can see them, really easily, because they have this, what I call the marketing curtain between first class and the comfort. And I call it a marketing curtain because it's mesh. It's the dumbest curtain in the history of the world. It's like, why would you have a mesh curtain?
They want you to see what's
They want
up
you
there.
to see that they have grapes and goblets and thrones, and they're like people like up here, like they're dancing and having a party. I don't know. But yeah, those seats are really, those are the seats you want. And I think the same thing's true when we think about our courage. We got to be willing to pay a price. We got to be willing to stretch ourselves. We got to be willing to try something hard. We got to be willing to fail in front of people and, put something out there in the world, and like, they may not like it. I love that. I love that mindset because it helps you get better. It helps you grow, and ultimately helps you become a leader that others want to follow. And if we embody that kind of heart, it really does. It links us to what we've been talking about.
Yeah. So one more word of encouragement. As we talk about courage specifically, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it will become. So I just want to encourage you to be courageous.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. All right, Mark's Being Courageous tomorrow. Book's coming out. If you've not pre-ordered your copy, you don't have to pre-order now. You can just
go
order,
buy
and
it.
it's coming tomorrow or the next day. You'll get it. If you've not gotten the bundle, I encourage you to go back and check that out. Go to leadeveryday.com. We got the digital bundle with the digital book, field guide, quick start guide. Mark's got the 25 session course on there. You'll get all that, or you can get the printed resources and the course for $129, I believe it is right now. It's over $350 worth of stuff. You're getting all kind of stuff there. Encourage you to pick that up if you've not done so. We want to help you pursue a leadership life that's full of uncommon greatness. The world needs great leaders. It needs you. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.